aftermath of gangstalking, CPTSD, and how it affects your daily life for years to come if you don't start a healing journey. Hello, and welcome to Veronica's Journal, where we discuss spirituality, psychology, and mental health. Together, we evolve as a community that's unstoppable. How's it going, guys? My name is Veronica. And today, I'll be talking about how negatively gangstalking can impact you for years to come, even after it stops. And it's extremely important to start your healing journey. The sooner, the better. I want to talk about something that many people live with every single day, but that is often misunderstood. Complex PTSD, also known as complex post-traumatic stress disorder. When people hear this term, they often think about a single traumatic event, such as a car accident or a natural disaster or military combat. But complex PTSD develops differently. It usually results from repeated prolonged trauma, especially when the trauma occurs in situations where a person feels very trapped, powerless, helpless, or unable to escape, which is in the case of gangstalking, childhood abuse, domestic violence, emotional abuse, narcissistic abuse, human trafficking, neglect, repeated bullying, captivity, or years of living in unsafe environments. The effects don't simply disappear when the abuse ends. For many survivors, trauma continues to affect their thoughts, their emotions, their relationships, their physical health, long after the danger is gone. And today I want to explore what living with complex PTSD can actually feel like on a day-to-day basis. How do I know this? Because I've lived with it. I've been through it for years and years, and I still struggle with it from time to time, but I'm in a much better place now. Imagine waking up every morning and your nervous system already believes that it's in danger. Nothing bad's happening in that moment. You're in your bed, you're comfortable, you're safe, but your body doesn't fully believe it. For someone with CPTSD, the brain and the nervous system have been conditioned by repeated trauma to stay alert for threats. This means that even ordinary situations that trigger survival in someone who has CPTSD, like a simple text message, can create anxiety. A change in someone's tone of voice can cause panic. A disagreement can feel like abandonment or an attack. And the person isn't overreacting. It's just that the nervous system has learned through repeated experience that danger can appear at any moment. And one of the most exhausting aspects of complex PTSD is hypervigilance. Hypervigilance means constantly scanning the environment for signs of danger. Many survivors do this automatically. They may enter a room and immediately notice everyone's mood. They might sit facing the exit. They might analyze conversations repeatedly in their head, searching for hidden meanings. Their brain is always asking questions like, is that person angry? Did I do something wrong? Is something bad going to happen right now? Because this state of alertness requires tremendous energy. Many people with complex PTSD feel exhausted. Even when they haven't done much, they feel exhausted, like physically, mentally, because their mind has been working overtime all day. Another common experience is emotional flashbacks. Okay. Many people associate flashbacks with vivid memories or visual images of traumatic events, but emotional flashbacks are different. Uh, an emotional flashback is when a person suddenly experiences an overwhelming feeling or feelings connected to that past trauma or abuse or whatever, gangstalking, without necessarily remembering the original event. They may suddenly feel terrified, ashamed, rejected, worthless, abandoned, or helpless. The emotions can be like so intense that they feel completely, they feel so real in the present moment. A small event such as someone answering a text message can trigger feelings that originally developed during years of neglect or abandonment. See, the person is not responding to what's happening now. Their nervous system, it's responding to old wounds that were never fully healed. Okay? Complex PTSD affects a person's sense of identity. Many survivors, they struggle with self-worth. This happens because abusive environments repeatedly send harmful messages. Messages like, you don't matter. Your feelings are not important. You're too sensitive. Everything is your fault. And with gang stalking, the message is, oh, you're gonna die a torturous death. Over time, these messages become internalized. So even when the gang stalking ends, survivors continue speaking to themselves in ways like they would never speak to another human being. They may constantly criticize themselves, doubt themselves, or feel like undeserving of love, success, happiness, or peace. Many become trapped in cycles of perfectionism because they learned early that mistakes could lead to punishment, rejection, or even humiliation. And relationships can be especially challenging. One of the painful realities of complex PTSD is that trauma often happens in relationships, and also healing can happen in relationships. But just trusting people after betrayal and years of gang stalking can be incredibly difficult. Some survivors, they become fearful of getting close to others. They keep emotional walls around them at all times because they expect disappointment. They expect abandonment. Others may become highly sensitive to signs of rejection, a delayed response, a canceled plan, or some kind of misunderstanding that can trigger intense emotional reactions. This doesn't happen because they're weak, okay? It happens because their nervous system learned through repeated experiences that connection was not safe, and it often linked to pain. Many people live with complex PTSD. They struggle with boundaries. Some become people pleasers. They learn that keeping others happy was necessary for survival. As children or partners in abusive situations, they may have discovered that saying no led to conflict or punishment or rejection. So as adults, they often continue prioritizing everyone else's needs over their own. And some people even fear leaving home. They just stay at home. They're too scared to leave home. What is it called? Agoraphobia. Yeah, gang stalking will do that to you. People may feel guilty for resting, guilty for speaking up, guilty for setting limits, guilty for protecting themselves, guilty for prioritizing themselves. And this can lead to burnout, resentment, and emotional exhaustion. Another aspect that people don't often talk about is dissociation. Dissociation is the mind's way of protecting itself when experiences become overwhelming. For some survivors, dissociation feels like being disconnected from reality. They may feel numb, detached, foggy, or as if they're watching life happen from a distance. Conversations may become difficult to follow, to go through, and they may feel fragmented. Time may seem to disappear, and this isn't laziness or lack of attention. It's a survival response that developed to help them cope with overwhelming stress and feelings. The complex PTSD doesn't only affect your emotions, it affects your body too. Trauma lives in the nervous system. Many survivors, they experience chronic fatigue, digestive issues, muscle tension, headaches, sleep disturbances, and chronic pain, or even autoimmune symptoms. Because years of living in survival mode can place enormous strain on the body. The body often carries what the mind has struggled to process, and sleep can become a major challenge. Many survivors find difficult to fall asleep. Other people wake up frequently during the night, or some experience nightmares. Because even during sleep, their nervous system is still alert. And as a result, many people with CPTSD begin each day already exhausted. And this fatigue, it can affect concentration, motivation, emotional regulation, and your overall well-being. Even decision making can become very difficult. You see, people who grew up in abusive environments were often punished for making mistakes. So as adults, they may overthink, even like simple choices. They may fear getting things wrong, fear of criticism, fear of consequences. What seems like a small decision to others may feel overwhelming to someone whose past experiences taught them that making mistakes was dangerous. See, one of the most heartbreaking effects of CPTSD is grief. Not grief for what happened, but grief for what should have happened. Grief for the childhood they deserved. Grief for lost opportunities. Grief for years spent surviving instead of thriving. Grief for the beautiful life they had before their gang stalking began. And many survivors carry deep sadness about the support, safety, love, and protection they never received. Healing involves acknowledging those losses rather than pretending that they didn't matter. And despite all these challenges, it's important to understand something, okay? Complex PTSD is not a character flaw. It is not a weakness. It is not an attention-seeking behavior. It's not lack of resilience. In many ways, the symptoms of CPTSD represent a nervous system that adapted to survive extremely, extremely difficult circumstances. Hypervigilance helped detect danger. People pleasing help with conflict. Dissociation helped reduce emotional pain. Emotional sensitivity helped identify threats. These responses were survival strategies. The problem is that survival strategies can continue long after the danger has passed. The good news is that healing is possible. You see, recovery doesn't mean forgetting what happened. It doesn't mean pretending that the trauma wasn't real. Healing means helping the nervous system learn that the present is different from the past. Live in the present. That's why. It means learning safety, learning self-compassion, learning healthy boundaries, learning emotional regulation, learning that rest is allowed, learning that love does not have to hurt. Healing is often slow, sometimes frustrating, sometimes messy, but it is absolutely possible. People recover, people rebuild their lives, people rediscover joy, people learn to trust again, and people create futures that are no longer controlled by their past. If you're listening to this and recognize yourself in some of these experiences, please know you're not alone. Okay? Many survivors, they carry these struggles silently every single day. And while this journey is difficult, there is hope. The effects of trauma are real. The gang-stalking trauma and your capacity to heal is real as well. And this brings us to the end of the video. Thank you for listening. If this discussion resonated with you, consider sharing it with someone who may benefit from it. So, see, conversations like this reduce the stigma many people carry around every single day because of their experiences. Hope it helped. Take care of yourselves. Hit that like button right now and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Love you all.